Good morning, respected judges and everyone. Today, my free paper topic is on study on effect of translaminar fibrosa pressure difference in glaucoma in South India. I have the nil financial disclosure for the study. Coming to the introduction, we know glaucoma is one of the causes of irreversible blindness worldwide, and in India, it is predicted to be around causing 20% of glaucoma population. Now, we are seeing that many cases of glaucoma are undetected due to the inaccessibility of quality healthcare, mostly in the rural areas. And most of it is because they are underdiagnosed or they present late to the ophthalmologist. We know the most common modifiable factor for glaucoma is raised IOP, but there have been further mechanisms that have been studied that can modify the treatment of glaucoma because neither all patients with ocular hypertension develop glaucoma, nor is the IOP raised in cases of normal tension glaucoma. So because of this, there was a CSF theory of glaucoma postulated by Fishman and Berdahl that estimated and defined the role of translaminar fibrosa pressure gradient on glaucomatous optic neuropathy. So the aim of my study was to assess the association of mean translaminar fibrosa pressure difference, mean IOP, and mean ocular perfusion pressure with glaucoma, and also compare these pressure parameters between primary open angle and angle closure glaucoma patients. It is a descriptive observation cross-sectional studies. I had 47 patients with glaucoma, included both their eyes, and 47 age and gender matched patients without glaucoma, which was my control group. The duration of my study was for 1 year, and the study location was in ophthalmology OPD in a tertiary care center in Chennai. I included all the patients who were first time diagnosed with primary open angle and angle closure glaucoma. I excluded the patients whose fundus could not be seen clearly. I also excluded the patients who had no neurological conditions that might affect the CSF pressure, and also patients who were supposed on OCP or other medications that might cause IIH. And also ambulatory patients were excluded. So all the patients, I noted the detailed history along with their age, BMI, blood pressure, diastolic blood pressure, and pulse pressure. Ophthalmological examination was done checking the anterior segment, gonioscopy, fundus examination, along with the pachymetry and IOP with Goldman's inclination tonometry was done for each eye, and the cases were defined as primary open angle or angle closure based on ISGO classification. The CSF pressure and TLCPD was calculated based on a formula given by Z et al., which was determined by the body mass index, diastolic blood pressure, the age, and the TLCPD is nothing but the difference between the intraocular pressure and CSF pressure. And the ocular pressure, perfusion pressure was calculated based on 2/3 of the diastolic blood pressure plus 1/3 of pulse pressure minus the intraocular pressure. In all the statistical tools, the probability value was taken as significant if it was less than, P was less than 0.05. Coming to the results, 52 patients were females and 42 patients were male. 86 eyes had open angle, whereas 8 eyes had angle closure glaucoma, and the mean age of our participants was 54.3 years. Coming to the entire population, we saw the mean TLCPD was around 5.42. For the glaucoma patients, it was slightly higher at 8.15. The mean CSF pressure for the entire population was around 11, and in the glaucoma group, it was slightly lesser at 11.43. The mean ocular perfusion pressure in the entire population was 46.4 and was slightly lower in the glaucoma patients of 45. When we compare the glaucoma group with the non-glaucoma group, we saw the intraocular pressure, TLCPD, diastolic blood pressure, and pulse pressure was significantly higher in the glaucoma group, whereas BMI, CSF pressure, and ocular perfusion pressure had no statistical difference. So this is the table where we can see that these parameters were significantly higher and statistically significant in the glaucoma group. So I've drawn the comparison here. And then when we compared the angle closure and the open angle group, we saw the IOP was higher comparatively in the angle closure. CSF was higher in the open angle group. TLCPD was lower in the open angle group, but none of these was statistically significant between open angle and angle closure groups. As we can see, there was no statistical significance between any of the parameters. Coming to the discussion, translaminar fibrosa pressure difference is nothing but the difference between the intraocular pressure and CSF pressure, which IOP is taken as the transcorneal pressure of the intraocular and external atmosphere. The lamina fibrosa is presumed to be the site for glaucomatous optic neuropathy because of the intraocular compartment and retrolaminar compartment because of the CSF pressure. In our study, we saw the study population was 54.3, which is similar to the other studies done by Central India Eye Study and Beijing Eye Study. Berdal et al. Found that the lumbar CSF pressure was significantly low in glaucoma patients compared to the control group, which is again similar to our study. But that difference was not statistically significant. The mean intraocular pressure in our glaucoma group was also higher, which is again similar to the Beijing eye study. The translaminar cribrosa pressure difference was also significantly higher in our glaucomatous patients compared to the controls, which is again similar to the Beijing eye study. So we are inferring that both TLCPD along with intraocular pressure plays a role in the pathophysiology of glaucomatous optic neuropathy in all glaucoma cases. In our study, we saw the ocular perfusion pressure was lower in glaucoma than the non-glaucoma group, but was not statistically significant, which is similar to the Beijing eye study and low pressure glaucoma treatment study. But in their case, it was statistically significant. Again, comparing the subgroups of open angle and angle closure, we saw that the IOP, TLCPD, and ocular perfusion pressure were lower, whereas the CSF pressure was higher in open angle, but it was not statistically significant. Limitations of my study was we had a smaller sample size, and also we could not check the diurnal variation because of the IOP.
Please sum up, your time is up, please.
Okay, sir. So this is only the conclusion. Because of the diurnal variation, I couldn't measure the IOP, which will also affect the CSF pressure and TLCPD at the different timings. To conclude, glaucoma is the silent thief of vision. So thus, diastolic blood pressure, pulse pressure, IOP, and translaminar cribrosa pressure can be measured to determine patients at risk of developing glaucoma and advise them for an early glaucoma screening. Thank you, sir. These are my references.
Thank you. Thank you. Please unshare your screen. Any questions from the judges? And in between, may I ask Dr. Hiranmoy Das, is the person available, present?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Before you start, any questions from the judges?
Yes, Dr. Marathe, can I ask?
Yes, sir, of course.
Yeah, that was a nice observation. I just wanted to ask you what your study results. Can you give some take-home message? See, we are always harping on IOP.
Yes, sir.
You are bringing into picture the
Laminar
cribrosa pressure. So the blood pressure and pulse pressure, diastolic pressure, BMI, everything has to be taken into account. So what is the message?
Sir, I want to say, yes, sir.
In a glaucoma patient.
Yes, sir. So basically, I'm saying at the community level, when we do not have the visual fields and everything accessible, so when we are going for screening, suppose at the community level, blood pressure, sphygmanometer, we can also have basic IOP, maybe a Gonan's apprenticeship tonometer with the slit lamp. So when we are checking all these parameters, on that basis, we can tell these patients you can probably go for a further glaucoma screening for fields, because at the community, at the PHCs, when we go, it's not accessible everywhere, so for visual fields. So we can detect them at an earlier stage, because patients, mostly in the rural areas, they will not be coming for direct glaucoma because they will not understand they're having a constriction of visual fields. So I believe that at a community level, apart from just looking at IOP, we can see these other parameters as well, and advise them further to go for screening.
Oh, I wanted to know whether you can ask them to reduce BMI, reduce BP or something like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, so preventive measures can be given because it is significantly having a role retrospectively.